August 4th, 2219, Albion D. Earth.
The scrolling shooters or shoot 'em ups, which is shortened to just shmups, have seen a decline of games within this past few generations. With a lot of indie developers making side-scrolling platformers and hack and slash, shooter can be considered a rare gem to be found in this day and age. A few examples of modern shooters are Enter the Gungeon and Cuphead, which you are all familiar with to some extent. Those are not the topic of this video, however. We will go back to the past and tackle a game that is pretty much a predecessor to these modern shooters. Of course, that is a bit of an exaggeration, as this game didn't receive that much positive reviews when it comes to its gameplay, since it was really dated by the time of its release. But if you're like me and your childhood revolved around PlayStation 1, you have pretty much more or less heard of this game. Raystorm is a scrolling shooter released by Taito Corporation in 1996. It was originally released as an arcade game but got ported to the PlayStation in 1997. It is definitely one of my favorite childhood video games and probably is the reason why I came to love shmups and bullet hell games. In Raystorm, you get to fly a spacecraft called R-Gray and fight hordes of enemy's ships and vehicles of the Sicilia Federation to stop them from destroying Earth. The R-Gray spacecraft has two different types. The R-Gray 1, which uses a basic single laser cannon that spreads out and fires out up to 8 missiles when locking on targets using the reticule on the screen, and the R-Gray 2, which uses twin lasers and fires out lightning strikes that can target up to 16 enemies. The twin lasers of the R Grade 2 is relatively small in width compared to the widespread laser cannon of the R Grade 1, but it deals significantly more damage. And as with shooters, the players have the ability to deal one-time powerful attack, also known as a bomb on other shmups, to clear the screen of enemies and become invulnerable to enemy bullets for a few seconds. Upon starting the game, players get to choose their R-Gray spacecraft of choice, as well as a manual or auto mode. Manual mode allows the player to manually press a designated button to attack enemies that are currently locked on and place the bomb button on a different button. Auto mode will automatically attack locked-on targets, as the name suggests. The game cruises you through 7 different stages, each containing unique enemy bullet patterns and placements, and unique bosses. The first 3 stages put you through different places on Earth. The fourth stage shows you in Earth's orbit trying to stop a massive fleet of spacecraft entering the Earth's atmosphere. The fifth stage needs you to navigate an asteroid belt towards Sicilia. The sixth stage shows you already entering the colony of Sicilia, and the seventh stage, which brings you on the central control center of the colony. The game features 2 modes, arcade mode and extra mode. Both modes have the same number of stages, but extra mode contains different number of enemies, altered bosses, and a different ending than the arcade mode. Beating either the arcade mode or the extra mode will unlock a stage select option where players can choose individual stages and achieve a high score without playing through the whole game. Meanwhile, succeeding in both modes unlocks certain players option, which is a game mode where the player is required to complete the game using only 13 ships, or 13 lives for that matter. The 13 ships contain 3 R Grade 1 manual ships, 3 R Grade 2 manual ships, 3 R Grade 1 auto ships, 3 R Grade 2 auto ships, and 1 R Grade 0 prototype ship. Players can also customize each stage's difficulty instead of increasing or decreasing it for the whole game. In that way, players can mix up the difficulty and set it to where they are comfortable with. It's a pretty nice addition. And overall, the game is pretty short. You can pretty much complete the whole game within 30 minutes or so. But that is how scrolling shooters should be designed. Quick, but has high replayability for high scores. Overall, the game looks pretty good and awesome, its graphics are superb in its time, and some of the enemies look like mobile suits, which personally is an extra plus. Players at the time commented on how the game uses data controls and gameplay since it was kind of similar to its prequel game, Force. Personally, I do not mind the gameplay. It is probably one of the games that got me into mechas and shmups, after all, and it will have a special place in my heart.